Hope you're doing well today. So we are continuing our conversation in Chapter 10, Physical Education Pedagogy. This is part 2, and we're talking more about the curriculum models today. Here we go. A teacher's personal philosophy combined with the program's goals and objectives play a central role in shaping the focus and approach of instruction. Curriculum models serve as frameworks that guide the design and delivery of physical education content, reflecting specific educational philosophies and priorities. These models are typically focused and theme-based, each emphasizing different aspects such as skill development or fitness, social interaction, or personal growth. Because of this diversity, no single curriculum model can effectively address all the content areas or meet the needs of every student and teaching context. Therefore, physical educators should thoughtfully select or adapt curriculum models that align with their instructional philosophy, the student population, and program goals to create meaningful and effective learning experiences. The skills themes approach is a model that is primarily implemented in elementary school physical education settings. It focuses on teaching fundamental movement skills and core concepts across various physical activities, including games, sports, gymnastics, and dance. The goal is to build a strong foundation of motor skills and movement understanding that students can develop progressively. The emphasis is placed on age-appropriate skill acquisition, coordination, and body awareness to prepare students for more complex physical activities in later grades. The skills themes approach is a widely used curriculum model in elementary physical education that focuses on teaching fundamental movement skills called skill themes, and they're used as building blocks for more complex physical activities. The approach emphasizes developmentally appropriate skill acquisition through a progression of phases. The first phase is the basic skill. This is where they're focusing on mastering the fundamental components and critical elements of a specific skill. Instruction is tailored to the student's age and developmental level to ensure appropriate progression and solid foundation. The next phase is a combination. So once the basic skills are mastered, students are learned to combine multiple skills and incorporate movement concepts. This phase helps develop coordination and fluidity by integrating skills in varied ways. The third phase is a skill and context. And so here, students apply individual skills and their combinations across different settings and situations, enhancing adaptability and understanding. This encourages transfer of skills to new and diverse environments. And then you have a culminating activity. This is the final phase and involves applying learned skills within more complex and authentic activities such as games, sports, gymnastics, and dance. This phase really reinforces skill use in meaningful and enjoyable and varied context, promoting competence and confidence. Personal and social responsibility model was developed by Don Hellison, and it is a teaching framework that promotes respect, self-direction, and caring for others. It focuses on developing the whole child, not just physically, but emotionally and socially. So the Hellison's model emphasizes growth beyond physical skills by focusing on how students think, feel, and interact socially and emotionally within the learning environment. It is a student-centered approach model that embraces each student as a unique individual and encourages self-expression and personal responsibility. It also provides students with opportunities to have a voice in their learning process, making their own decisions and taking ownership of their behaviors and choices. And while physical skill development remains important, the model prioritizes social and emotional learning such as respect, self-control, cooperation, and conflict resolution. Teachers and students can use the personal and social responsibility model and to reflect on and assess personal and social responsibility using 5 progressive levels that are outlined in the PSRM model. These levels serve as both behavioral benchmarks and learning goals that help students grow not only as athletes, but as respectful, responsible individuals. Level 1 is respecting the rights and feelings of others. So here, students demonstrate self-control. They're listening actively and following rules and treating peers and teachers with respect. They avoid disruptive behaviors and honor the personal space, thoughts, and emotions of others. Level 2 is about participation and effort. Students are willingly engaging in activities. They're trying their best regardless of ability and begin to show a positive attitude toward learning and improvement. They take responsibility for staying on task and being physically active. Level 3 is they're learning to have self-direction. And students are showing independence by setting goals, making positive choices, and managing their own behavior without constant teacher guidance. They take ownership of their learning and physical development. While level 4 is about helping others and leadership. Students support and encourage their peers and demonstrate empathy and take on those leadership roles such as mentoring or assisting others during activities. They contribute to a positive class environment and promote teamwork. And level 5 is taking responsibility outside the gym. So students apply the values of respect, effort, self-direction, and leadership in other areas of their lives, such as at home and in the classroom, on sports teams, or in the community. This level reflects true internalization of personal and social responsibility. Now, the problem-based approach to games teaching, often associated with models like tactical games or teaching games for understanding, TGFU. It emphasizes improving students' overall game performance by integrating tactical awareness with skill execution. Rather than isolating skill drills, this approach uses the context of the game to develop both decision-making and technical skills. The goals are to improve game performance by teaching students to think tactically while executing physical skills. It tends to foster great engagement, motivation, and enjoyment by making learning meaningful and game-centered. And it encourages problem solving and teamwork and critical thinking in dynamic game situations. Now, key components of it are the game classification system. So games are grouped into categories based on similar tactical demands. This helps transfer skills and understanding across similar game types. Some common categories include invasion games like soccer, basketball, or ultimate frisbee. Then you have net or wall games like volleyball or tennis. And then striking or field games like baseball or cricket. And target games like bowling or golf. By using this classification system, educators can design lessons that emphasize tactical concepts applicable across multiple games. In the game practice game format, this lesson structure supports learning by game 1 is initial game play. So they start with a modified or small-sided game to assess prior knowledge and introduce a tactical problem. And so in practice, students participate on focused drills or activities to develop specific skills or tactical understanding identified in the first game, such as passing the ball in basketball under pressure. In game 2, it's about application. So students return to the game setting to apply what they practiced, reinforcing the connection between skill, execution, and tactical decision making. And the benefits really make learning student-centered and game relevant. And again, it enhances engagement and enjoyment of physical education and encourages that active thinking and strategic play, not just the physical ability. And it builds on transferable skills across similar game types. The sport education model was one that was developed by Dr. Daryl Seidentop in 1984. And really, the purpose of it was to provide students with a more authentic, engaging, and inclusive sport experience in physical education. The model is designed to reflect the structure of organized sports while ensuring that all students, regardless of skill level, gender, or background, have a meaningful role and positive experience. The goals are to promote lifelong participation in physical activity and sport and teach students teamwork, leadership, and responsibility, and ensure equal participation opportunities for all students. It helps to build competence, literacy, and enthusiasm in sports. Now, some key features are that units are taught in seasons that last several weeks, not just a few isolated lessons. So students learn and apply rules, the strategies and skills in continuous and meaningful way. Such as in the fall, we play volleyball or basketball. Team affiliation. So students are assigned to persistent teams that last for the entire season. This helps to promote a sense of belonging, accountability, and team spirit. And there is a formal competition, so it includes structured games or matches where teams compete. The emphasis is on fair play, strategic thinking, and respect, and not just on winning. And there is a bit of record keeping. So teams keep track of scores, stats, attendance, and performance. Students may take on roles such as statisticians, coaches, referees, or captains, and enhance responsibility and engagement. The culminating event is when the season ends with a final celebration or championship event like a tournament, a festival, or a showcase. And it encourages students to work toward a shared goal and reflect on their progress. And of course, it involves festivities, all of the festivities with the cheering and the team names, the colors, the posters, awards, or ceremonies to make the experience fun and memorable. It creates a positive atmosphere and increases student motivation. So benefits are that it encourages equal participation of all genders and ability levels and develops both physical skills and social emotional learning. It also helps students feel like active contributors and not just players, and prepares students for real-world sports settings and promotes inclusive leadership. Now, the purpose of fitness education is to help students understand the importance of lifelong fitness and equip them with the knowledge, skills, and motivation to lead healthy and active lifestyles both in and outside of school. It includes units and lessons that are focused on health-related components of fitness, such as cardiovascular fitness, muscular strength, muscular endurance, flexibility, and body composition. And it might include activities such as walking and hiking, strength and weight training, circuit training, aerobics, yoga and stretching, and fitness testing and goal setting. Now, the concepts are based on a fitness and wellness model, and this approach blends knowledge, which is classroom learning, with a physical activity, hands-on participation, so students can make informed choices about their health. And there would be classroom discussions where students learn about fitness principles like the FIT principle of frequency, intensity, time, and type, target heart rate zones, nutrition basics, stress management, goal setting, and self-monitoring. And they would have laboratory activities where hands-on experiences that may include measuring heart rate and blood pressure, or testing flexibility or strength and tracking fitness progress over time. And then the physical activity experience. So they're engaging in real-time physical activities that apply classroom concepts and that help students explore and enjoy different types of fitness that they can carry into adulthood. So the goal is really to empower students to understand their own fitness needs, help them design their own personalized fitness programs, and set and reach personal goals, and engage in physical activity beyond physical education class. Adventure education helps students learn about themselves, work with others, and develop important life skills by participating in challenging team-based activities. And really what it looks like is it involves individual and group tasks that are often outdoors or non-traditional, and the focus is on problem solving, teamwork, and communication. Activities may include like low ropes courses and group challenges where they have to get the whole team across the river. There are trust building games and orienting or hiking, or team initiatives and problem solving stations. Now, the role of the teacher is that they act as a facilitator and not a director. They encourage students to reflect on their experiences, collaborate with teammates, and solve problems independently or in groups, and to take responsible risks. Now, the project adventure is one of the well-known forms of adventure education. It's based on 5 core philosophical concepts of challenge, push your limits and try new things; cooperation, which is working together to achieve success; and risk, taking safe, responsible risk, both physically and emotionally; and trust, building and rely on trust with your peers; and problem solving, using creative and critical thinking to find solutions. Now, the goals of adventure education are to develop self-confidence and resilience and learn to trust and support others, improving teamwork and leadership skills, and promoting reflection and personal growth, and creating a strong sense of community inclusion. So adventure education teaches real-world skills like communication, persistence, and leadership in fun and memorable ways. It's not just physical, it's also about social and emotional learning. The adventure education has 3 essential elements. The first of these is experiential learning cycle, and then the full value contract and challenge by choice. We're going to talk a little bit about each of these. So the learning through experience, or the experiential learning cycle, includes 4 stages. The first of these is the concrete experience, where they're engaging in an activity or a task. And then there's reflective observation, where they're thinking back on what happened. And then the abstract conceptualization, where they're drawing conclusions and learning from the experience. And then the active experience, which is where they're applying what was learned to new situations. This cyclical process promotes deep learning, personal growth, and skill development. Now, the full value contract is a mutual agreement between participants and facilitators to work together respectfully and give and receive honest feedback and support one another's learning and growth. It sets clear expectations for behavior and commitment, fostering a safe and trusting environment. And then the challenge by choice is where participants are encouraged to take risks and push their personal limits, decide their level of participation, and own their experience. This approach respects individual comfort zones while promoting growth and autonomy. Now, outdoor education is a little different than adventure education in that it takes place in natural settings where students learn through direct interaction with the environment. Unlike indoor or gym-based physical education, the environment is unpredictable and students must adapt to changing conditions. Some common activities in outdoor education are hiking and backpacking, camping, kayaking and canoeing, orienteering and map reading, rock climbing, cross-country skiing or snowshoeing, nature walks and environmental education, and survival skills training. It could also include team building challenges or rope courses. Now, some key characteristics are, again, it occurs in nature, so it's in the forest, the mountains, the parks, the lakes, the rivers, and it emphasizes skill development of navigation, safety, environmental awareness, and resilience. There's less control over the environment, weather, wildlife, terrain, and emergencies. And other considerations are cost, equipment, the tents, backpacks, boats, and transportation can be expensive. And the focus is on cooperation and responsibility. So students often work in teams and have to rely on one another in outdoor education. The cultural studies model is an educational approach that emphasizes students become literate and critical consumers of sport, physical activity, and the movement culture. The goal is to develop students' ability to observe, analyze, and critique sport and physical activity in social, cultural, political, and historical contexts. And it's really to encourage critical thinking and informed engagement with issues like gender, race, body image, media representation, commercialization, and access in sport. The key features are that learning takes place in both the classroom and the gymnasium, and students engage with real-world issues such as inequality in sport, stereotypes in media, and global sporting events. It promotes discussion, debate, and reflection, not just to physical participation. And it is primarily implemented in other countries such as Ireland, England, Australia, and New Zealand. Some examples of activities would be analyzing advertisements or broadcasts of sporting events and discussing the representation of athletes in media and debating topics like pay equity in professional sports and studying cultural practices and global physical activities or games. In some of the ways, it's more of a sport management model. This is a breakdown of a few of the curriculum models in physical education. So the skills themes, you develop competence and fundamental movement skills and concepts, such as locomotor, non-locomotor, and manipulative skills that are taught within games in sports, gymnastics, and dance. And typically, this is for elementary students. Now, the personal and social responsibility model is one that it could be for elementary, middle, or high school. And it assigns students more responsibility for their personal and social development and physical activity settings, both in and outside of school. Now, the teaching games for understanding and the tactical games model improves students' game performance by combining tactical awareness with skill execution to increase interest and excitement about games and sports. And it can be taught at elementary, but is even more so at the higher levels of middle and high school. Now, these two models, the sport education model is one that it educates and develops students to be competent, literate, enthusiastic sports persons through playing sports and undertaking various roles within the sport environment, such as coach, manager, official, and player. And again, it can be taught at elementary and then middle and high school even more so. Fitness education, it uses many different approaches to incorporate fitness and wellness content into physical education programs by developing students' knowledge and skills to be physically active for a lifetime. And again, it can be introduced at the elementary, but it's typically taught at middle and high school. And then you have adventure education. Now, this involves activities that promote holistic student involvement, and they're working on physical, cognitive, social, and emotional arenas in tasks that involve challenges and cooperation. Again, elementary, middle, or high school. Outdoor education involves personal and group development, so there's teamwork, trust, and taking on risks and challenges within the natural setting, typically an outdoor environment. And again, elementary, but mostly middle and high school. And then the cultural studies, typically in other countries outside of the United States, but it helps to develop knowledge to observe, analyze, and critique. That is question and challenge the physical activity and sport issues and topics in a variety of contexts. So here you're looking at more of middle and high school. In conclusion, a teacher's personal philosophy along with program goals and objectives plays a pivotal role in shaping the focus and approach to instruction in physical education. There are curriculum models that serve as structured frameworks guiding the design and delivery of content, each reflecting specific educational philosophies and priorities. And there's no single model that fits all teaching contexts or student needs. Educators select or adapt models to align with their philosophy and the unique characteristics of their students and programs. Each curriculum model offers unique strengths and addresses different dimensions of physical education, from skill mastery to social responsibility and lifelong fitness. Effective physical educators blend and adapt these models to meet diverse student needs and create engaging, meaningful learning experiences that foster physical, social, and emotional growth. And that is all that I have for you today. We will be continuing our conversation in part 3. I look forward to talking with you again. Have a great day.